In the Fox 7 Care Force, one veteran's take on the transition from military life to civilian. A retired Navy captain went through that change, and it made such an impact on him, he wrote a book about it. It's called From CO to CEO. We spoke with the author, William Toti, about the book over Zoom.
Bill Toti, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Mike.
First question is, why did you write the book?
Frustration? That's the short answer. While I was CEO of the company I ran, occasionally a manager would come to me and say, hey, look, I think we need to let so-and-so go. And I knew that the guy was a veteran. I would say it was almost 100% of the time I could predict why. It was always predictable and fixable. And the manager that wanted to let the veteran go was not a veteran. And so rather than wrestle with these issues one by one, when I finally retired from my 9-to-5 job, I decided I needed to write all these lessons down so that veterans would stop making the same mistakes over and over again.
What are some of those lessons? What are the big ones?
Well, one of the biggest is an epiphany, and I like to joke with my active duty friends that leadership is hard, but it's even harder when you're leading people who can actually quit. When I was on active duty commanding a submarine, my crew might have disagreed with my guidance, but in final analysis, there was no place for them to go. In private industry, that is not true. The employees vote with their feet. And so the same leadership techniques that work on active duty will not work when you're in private industry. And it causes a lot of veterans to crash and burn early on. So that's an example of the kind of lesson I tried to fold into the book.
The strategies for this transition, are they different for officers as opposed to non-officers?
Yeah, I would say they are in some ways, and in other ways they're the same. Officers are more likely to suffer from the disease of hubris, thinking that they know more about the business world than they actually do when they make the transition. Enlisted folks are generally not going to suffer from that. I tell officers it doesn't matter if you're a general. When you leave active duty and you join a company, you're a second lieutenant all over again. And if you don't understand that, and understand that 24-year-old in the desk next to you knows more about how to succeed than you do, you will fail. And sadly, I've had to let generals and admirals go.
You know, what's the single best advice you could give to veterans who are making that transition, be they officers, be they non-officers?
Be careful who you ask for advice from. A lot of people who are making the transition will ask recently transitioned people, how they did it, what they think of it. That's not the person you want to ask. You want to ask a person who has not only made the transition, but 5 years down the road shown some success in that transition. If you ask the wrong people, you will get bad advice.
Okay, all righty. We have to wrap it up from here, but the name of the book again, From CO to CEO, William Toti, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.